He said, pray as you see me pray. Utter these words that you hear me say. Based on the Sunnah, worship Him, just follow them.
Assalamu alaikum. New class coming to you every Monday and Wednesdays, taught by Ustad Layla Nashiba, the fiqh of prayer. Every Monday and Wednesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Inshallah, we'll see you there. Streaming on all major platforms. Channel Sunnahfollowers.
Ina alhamdulillah, wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulullah. I'd like to welcome everybody to our series entitled, I'd like to welcome everybody to our series entitled How to Perform the Prayer. How to Perform the Prayer. And tonight, what we're going to be discussing tonight is the prostration of recitation. And there's a couple of brothers here who are new to my stream who've asked me to speak about the prostration of recitation. I was going to do the prostration of forgetfulness, which I still will do next week, inshallah. The next class, not next week, this week, the next class, inshallah. But because these brothers asked me to help them settle a dispute that they were having. And I want to remind you guys, arguing about the religion, this is not something that we should do. We have the authentic hadith, whereas once the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam heard two men arguing outside of his home. So he went out, they were arguing outside the home. So he went outside and he said, is this what I was sent with, for you to debate one verse part of the Quran against another part of the Quran? You know, we shouldn't do that. You know, Allah sent down the verses telling us that if ever we differ about something in regards to this religion, to refer it back to Allah or to the Prophet. Islam is not just a religion, it's a beautiful way of life, perfected for us by Allah. So there really is no excuse for Muslims today to argue over anything concerning this religion, because the lawful is clear and the unlawful is clear too. And if there's some things that we are confused about, we're supposed to look to see what understanding the original companions had about an issue. So I want to remind you young brothers of that. And so for the brothers who asked me to settle their dispute, they were arguing as to whether or not the prostration of recitation is obligatory or if it's a highly recommended sunnah. And they were also arguing as to what to say when you prostrate. Well, I'm going to answer these brothers' questions. And I'm going to answer their question with what the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said about this prostration. So let's put the PowerPoint up on the screen and let's get right at it. I know some of you have to go to work tomorrow, and I'm not going to make this long. Plus, my head, you know, since I took that flu shot yesterday, my head is starting to hurt again. That's one of the side effects of the flu shot. Oh, and it hurts the back of my neck. Oh. Okay, so I'm going to go over tonight the prostration during the Quranic recitation. And again, it's all been detailed out to us by our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, everybody should be able to see the screen. Don't forget to put me on YouTube, on channel Sunnahfollowers, and you can watch me on your big screen and take screenshots. Now, Islam teaches us that whoever recites a verse of prostration from the Quran or if you hear a verse of prostration, it is preferred. I repeat, this is the first answer to the question. It is preferred. I repeat again. It is preferred to pronounce the takbir and then prostrate, and then make takbir again, and then rise from the prostration. That's the prostration of recital. So you get your first answer there. It's preferred. It's not an obligation, but it is recommended, highly recommended. And also, the brothers asked, do you have to recite the tashahhud? And do I have to give taslim when I come up from the prostrating? Well, here's your answer. Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, he said the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would recite the Quran to us, and when he came to a verse of prostration, he would make the takbirah and go into prostration, and then we would make prostration too. Okay, you see that? And there's the source. Remember, whenever we speak about Islam, there's only two sources, the Quran and the authentic hadith. Okay, so I put the sources there. You brothers take screenshots of the sources. And as you can see, Bukhari and Muslim is included in the source. Okay. Also, Ibn Masud, may Allah be pleased with him, he said, if you read a verse of prostration, then make the takbir and prostrate. And when you raise your head, make the takbir again. Okay. So here we can see this is the prostration. When you're praying, whenever you hear the verses, if you're able to, or if you choose to, you prostrate. You go down into sujood. This is where you have all the bones, the 7 bones of the body on the floor, like in this picture. Okay, that's the prostration. Also, what's the excellence of it? If it's something that we don't have to do, why do it? Well, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in an authentic hadith, if the son of Adam recites a verse of prostration and prostrates, the shaitan will leave from him saying, oh, woe is me. He was ordered to prostrate and he did. So for him will be paradise. I was ordered to prostrate and I disobeyed. So for me, it's the hellfire. And again, what's the source? Okay. Also, by the way, this is Bukhari. And also, guys, remember, when Allah created Adam, alayhi salam, Allah commanded the angels and Iblis to prostrate before him. The angels obeyed Allah and they prostrated, but Iblis was not an angel. He was a jinn. He disobeyed Allah. And because of that disobedience, that's why he's in hell. He suffered with disobedience due to stubbornness and arrogance and pride. He was too stubborn, too arrogant, and too proud to prostrate. That made him a kafir. Also, the majority of the scholars say that the prostrations for the verses of prostration are sunnah. They're not an obligation. It's sunnah for the person who's reciting the verse, and it's sunnah for the one who hears it. What's the source? This is based on what's found in Imam Bukhari. He said, Umar, may Allah be pleased with him. And you guys know who Umar is or was. Umar will be the second person to enter paradise after the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Umar is the second best of this nation after the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And also the Prophet said, had there been a prophet after him, it would have been Umar. So Umar out trumps any of these other people of today. Umar recited a Nahl when he was standing upon the minbar for khutbah, for the Jummah prayer one day. And when he came to the verses of prostration, he stepped down from the pulpit and he prostrated along with the people. The next Friday, he recited the same verses. And when he got to the verses of prostration, he said, "O people, here's your dalil. O people, here's your dalil, brothers. O people, we have not been ordered to prostrate. Whoever does so has acted correctly, while there is no blame or sin upon the one who does not." And again, what's the source? This is Sahih al-Bukhari. You cannot get no more authentic than this, than the Quran itself. Okay? Also in another narration, he said, Allah has not forced upon us the prostration, but if a person wants to do so, he may. Again, this is Sahih Bukhari. Also, in addition, the Prophet's scribe, Zayd ibn Thabit, he said, I recited a najm to the Prophet, and the Prophet did not, I repeat, did not prostrate during it. In fact, none of us did. And what is this verse here talking about? Well, for those of you who come to my classes, you know that the Prophet used to love to hear other people recite the Quran. So Zayd ibn Thabit was one of his scribes. Whenever Allah would send down a verse of the Quran, the Prophet would call upon Zayd, and Zayd would write it down. And when Zayd was reading that verse or reciting that verse, when he got to that surah, when he got to the verses of prostration, the Prophet did not prostrate, neither did the people. So again, these authentic hadiths are the dalil, or the proofs that it's a sunan. Like Umar said, Allah is not going to punish you for not prostrating. You don't want to be that person that I had 10 years ago who was driving in a car and almost killed himself. I'm not going to mention his name because he's still around. He's one of my regular students. He was driving in a car and he was playing the Quran in his car. And when they got to the verse of prostration came up, he tried to prostrate while he was driving. He ended up with his car totaled and he was almost in another world. He came to the website, and I remember Sheikh Morsi told him, because that's when I had Sheikh Morsi answering questions. And Sheikh Morsi told him those verses are not an obligation. You have to have common sense. What idiot would try to prostrate in a car when they're driving? You got to keep your eyes on the road. And that's why this brother ended up in the hospital. He's okay. He's still living. He lost that car. But he knows now that it's not something that we have to do. Remember, Allah knows us. He knows his creation. And Allah would never impose laws or conditions upon us that would be harmful. And now the second part of the third question that these brothers asked me. How many places in the Quran? One brother said, is it true, Sister Layla, that there are 25 verses? Another brother said, is it true that there's 30 verses? Well, there are 15 places. 15 places in the Quran in which one can prostrate. So the verses of prostration are 15 in number. And let me put them all on the screen here. The first one, Surah Al-Araf. Surat Arad, and Nahil, El Isra, and Mariam. I want you brothers to take screenshots. You brothers who like to argue, y'all need to stop all this bickering over this religion. Take a screenshot. These are the first 5 verses. There's 15, not 25 and not 30. Both of you were wrong. You got that? Then here are the others. Surat El-Hajj, El-Furqan, An-Naml, As-Sajda, Sa'd, Hamim, and Najm, El-Inshiqaq, and El-Alaq. Y'all see that? Take a screenshot. These are the 15 verses of prostration from the Quran. Not 25, not 30, 15. You brothers got that? And I know you're going to have my video at the side. Let me do my peace sign. Peace out. That means stop all that fighting. Okay. Now, the next question. Does a person have to be in a state of purity? In other words, do you have to have wudu to perform prostration? I've talked about this during the month of Ramadan because every Ramadan this question comes up for sisters. A lot of men will tell you, sisters, that it's haram for you to prostrate when you're on your menses. That's a lie. Ask them, where is their dalil? If we're going to say something is haram, we have to bring the clear evidence. There is no hadith, I repeat, no authentic hadith, I repeat again. There is no authentic hadith on planet Earth concerning prostrations of recital that proves that to prostrate, you have to be in a state of purity. Anyone that tells you that, tell them to bring forth their evidence. The people who are with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam prostrated with him, and he did not command them to make wudu. And it's very hard for us to believe that all those people, including the women, were in a state of purity. Also, remember, the unbelievers even prostrated with the Prophet. And we all know that a kafir is never pure unless he takes shahada. So anyone that tells you that you cannot prostrate unless you got wudu, where's their evidence? You don't need a wudu to prostrate. We're going to talk about the prostration of thankfulness, which I did talk about it. I'm going to talk about it again. Even when we prostrate to thank Allah, we don't have to be in a state of purity. Where's my dalil? Sahih Bukhari. I keep telling you guys, 85% of the knowledge of Islam is in Sahih Bukhari. That's why I stick to that with you guys. Okay? We have this hadith from Bukhari where Ibn Umar, that Ibn Umar would prostrate even when he was not free of minor impurities. Okay, that's Sahih Bukhari. Also, there is no hadith that states your clothing has to be pure either. Okay, so I want you brothers to take a screenshot of this. And these are the sources. What are the sources of Islam? The sources of Islam are the Quran and the authentic hadith, not a fatwa. A couple of you brothers sent me some fatwa, and I keep telling y'all to be careful of Sheikh Google, because when you put in Google any questions about Islam, it's going to go to elislam.org because the Shiites have paid the money for that. And elislam.org is a Shiite website. They don't even believe in Bukhari. They don't believe in Sahih Muslim. They don't even believe. They have their own hadiths that they made up, and they don't even believe in the Quran we have. So be careful with Sheikh Google, because if it's a fatwa from alislam.org, it will be burned. Those are the 12 imams, the 12ers, the worst set of Shiites, the ones that killed Ali radiallahu anha, that killed Umar radiallahu anha, that started all this fitna amongst the companions. So that fatwa that you brothers sent me, I didn't even read it. When I saw alislam.org, that's the end of it. So take a screenshot. These are the sources. Al-Bukhari. Okay? Now, a lot of people ask, when you prostrate, do we have to make a supplication? Here's the answer. You can supplicate whatever you want. There is nothing authentic from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam on this except the hadith of Aisha. Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, said when the Prophet made the sajda of the Quran, he would say, I have prostrated my face to the one who created it and brought forth its hearing and seeing by his might and power. Blessed be Allah, the best of creators. This is the only, I repeat, the only hadith on this topic. And there's the source. It's related by all of the five, except Ibn Majah and Al-Hakim. Okay? You guys don't understand that because you're not scholars of the hadith. Okay? Bottom line, it means that it's authentic. Okay? And that's the only hadith we have. So based on that, you can say whatever you want when you prostrate. But that's what the Prophet would say, has said. This is the only one reported from Aisha, radiallahu anha. Also, it is allowed for the imam or the one praying individually to recite the verses of prostration during the prayer, if the recitation is audible or inaudible, and he should prostrate during the prayer after reading such verse. We have this hadith from Bukhari and Muslim from Abu Rafi. He said, I prayed the Isha prayer with Abu Huraira, and he recited El-Inshiqaq, and that's one of the 15 verses. And he prostrated during the prayer. And I asked him, I said, oh, Abu Huraira, what prostration is this? He said, I made a prostration when reciting this surah behind the Prophet. And since then, I never stopped making a prostration whenever I recite it. That's that verse from Al-Inshiqaq. Okay? Also Bukhari and Muslim, Ibn Umar. He said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam made a prostration during the first rakat of the noon prayer, and his companions were of the opinion that he did it because it was during the surah as-sajda, which was a verse of prostration. Okay. Oh, let me make sure you guys. Wait. Let me go back. Let me make sure you guys took a screenshot. Hold on. Hold on, I'm coming back. Wait a minute, move this out the way. Wait a minute, it's hard for me to. Okay. Yeah, take a screenshot, brothers. Those are your sources. You got it? Okay. Finally, you can combine a number of prostrations and make only one prostration if you recite a verse of prostration over and over. So if you're going to recite a verse more than once, you can either do one prostration for that verse, or you can do it over and over if you choose. It's up to you. Okay. Also, the majority of the scholars are of the opinion that the prostration is to be performed right after the recitation or right after you hear it. You don't want to delay prostrating. You don't wait till you get home. You're not driving in your car playing the Quran and then decide when you get home you're going to do a prostration. No, you should do it right then and there. And you don't have to make it up because it's not an obligation to do it at all. As Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, said, Allah is not going to punish you or hold you to account, for not doing a prostration because you heard one of those verses. Everybody got it. And that's basically it.